Hey everyone, have you ever wondered how some high schoolers can process incredibly complex information, think super fast on their feet, and deliver these razor-sharp arguments without missing a beat? Well, today we're stepping right into the intense, multitasking, absolutely sweat-inducing arena of competitive policy debate. Let's break it down. Our source material for today's explainer comes straight from the Ultimate Survival Guide for New Recruits. It's a text called Debate101, everything you need to know about policy debate. Honestly, think of this text as your basic training manual. It outlines exactly what it takes to survive and thrive in a high-stakes training camp where just having native smarts simply isn't enough. You really need hard work, a willingness to learn, and honestly, absolute fearlessness. All right, so here is our game plan for today. 1. Welcome to policy debate. 2. The debater's toolkit. 3. Cracking the debate code. And 4. Climbing the competitive ladder. Let's jump into Section 1, Welcome to Policy Debate. We are officially stepping into the arena. So imagine an entire competition revolving around just one massive topic. In debate, that's called the National High School Debate Resolution. For instance, our source uses this specific mandate. Resolved, the United States federal government should substantially increase its exploration and/or development of space beyond the Earth's mesosphere. Every single team spends the entire tournament debating the specific merits of that exact statement. And listen, when I say it's an intense arena, I literally mean it. At these tournaments, debaters will battle through 4 to 8 rapid-fire rounds of competition. 4 to 8. It is a sheer test of both mental and physical endurance. But here's the really wild part. The switch sides rule. You can't just pick one side of the argument and get comfortable. No way. The rules actually dictate that if you argue the affirmative in round 1, meaning you present a case and a plan supporting that space exploration resolution, you have to completely flip and argue the negative in round 2. You literally have to oppose the very concepts you just championed. It requires incredible intellectual agility and adaptability. Okay, Section 2, the debater's toolkit. It's time to build your arsenal. Surviving all those rapid-fire rounds requires a vast arsenal of really specific mental and physical tools. The goal? You want to make sound, quality arguments so smoothly that the judge and your opponents never even see you sweat. You need sharp reading skills for research and intense organization just to find your files while presenting arguments, so the judge sees the big picture. Plus, of course, sharp critical thinking. But get this. Here is a super surprising fact from the text. The best debaters are actually the best listeners. Hearing and completely understanding your partner and your opponents in each round is the true key to success. Right, so how on earth do you manage all that listening and thinking at the exact same time? Well, enter a really vital piece of debate jargon, flowing. Flowing is the act of taking very specific notes to track the arguments made in the round. It relies super heavily on your writing and multitasking skills. Basically, flowing is a debater's secret weapon for organizing logical responses to opposing positions completely on the fly. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, Cracking the Debate Code. Time to decrypt some jargon. Look, policy debate definitely has an intimidating secret language, but we can easily translate it right now because every debate essentially boils down to problems, solutions, and, well, more problems. First up, we have significance, or harms. These are the actual problem areas in the real world. Next is inherency, which is why the problem exists, or the barrier that's preventing it from being solved right now. Then comes solvency. This is the affirmative side's proposed solution, explaining exactly how their specific plan prevents or solves those harms without creating new ones. And finally, we have disadvantages. This is the negative team's counterattack, where they create disputes about whether the affirmative's plan will accidentally trigger brand new problems. Grasping those core terms we just talked about, harms, inherency, solvency, disadvantages, is absolutely paramount. As this quote from the text perfectly reinforces, creating a cogent argument demands knowing the elements that distinguish your complete and persuasive arguments from the incomplete and invalid points made by your opponents. Because debate issues are so complex, there are often 2, 3, or even more sides to every single issue. Mastering this structure is exactly how you intellectually dismantle your opponent's case. All right, final stretch, Section 4, Climbing the Competitive Ladder, the boss battles. So now that you know the rules, the tools, and you speak the language, how do you progress from a nervous rookie to a national champion? Well, first, you have to climb the experience ladder. Competitors usually start in the novice division, which is reserved strictly for students in their very first year. Step 2 is junior varsity, for those with about a year or less of experience facing similarly situated opponents. Finally, you reach Step 3, varsity. Varsity competitors typically have 2 or 3 years of hard tournaments under their belts. And to get a real edge, many of these varsity debaters will actually spend their off-season attending rigorous summer debate institutes at various college campuses around the nation. And hey, it's not just the students who level up. The tournaments do too. Let's see how this builds geographically. You start out at local tournaments within your county. Then you scale up to regional tournaments covering a much wider area. Step 3 takes you to invitational tournaments, where colleges literally invite the top programs from neighboring states. Finally, you reach the absolute pinnacle, the Tournament of Champions in Kentucky, right alongside national championships run by organizations like the National Speech and Debate Association. These are massive, highly competitive boss battles featuring the absolute best debaters from all 50 states. So, we've unpacked the whole shebang. The grueling 4 to 8 round structures, the mental toolkit required to flip sides on a dime, the structural jargon of harms and solvency, and that intense 50-state ladder to the top. It is such a thrilling, demanding activity that requires constant learning and a real ability to critically analyze the world's biggest problems. So, I'll leave you with this one final, provocative thought. Knowing the immense dedication, the rapid-fire multitasking, and the fearless adaptability required, do you have the mental agility to step up to the podium? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your curiosity sharp.